everybody, this is Alchemist 2, and I'm back again with another series review. I just recently got a chance to watch Power Rangers Time Force, and this episode was actually recommended to me by my dear friend, Bright Star Angie. And the episode was entitled Trip Takes a Stand. And Nauticon was frozen, but he was brought to life, and he thought, "Who are you? Why did you unfreeze me? What's going on?" Of course, he's confused at first and sort of bewildered by, sure, after being frozen for who knows how long, coming to a rude awakening to all those different characters. And then they realize that he is a benevolent mutant, and the only reason, the only thing that he got arrested for was petty theft. And we soon hear that they wouldn't even feed him because of his looks, and he had to steal. And I thought, Les Miserables, Jean Valjean? Maybe? I'm thinking that's the story that they incorporated into this. But when he's sent to Earth, he has a device implanted to persuade. At first it doesn't work on him. He completely overrides its power, but just by sheer will. Later on, he is commanded into battle against all the Rangers to fight. And of course, the Silver Rangers are just straightforward. If it's a mutant, kill it. Just shoot first, ask questions later. And Trip meets Nauticon and hears his story and befriends him and decides to protect him. And the other Rangers come to realize that as well, except for Eric, Quantum Ranger, who is part of the Silver Rangers. And he has little, next to none, of empathy toward his allies, or he comes off as a frenemy. And I thought, yeah, I've seen this before. It's a common trope. And it was a very interesting dynamic, but it was very sad as to see how badly Nauticon was treated against his own will, and fighting when he just wanted to be peaceful and make people happy. And I thought, oh, I mean, it just proves that there are mutants in the Power Rangers universe that aren't malevolent. Just look to this episode. It's the only evidence I can give you. I really liked it. I thought that it was spectacular. I liked the use of the time reversal and freezing him, and Trip actually puts him in a canister to save him. And of course, Eric says, "You got lucky this time. The next time, I'll run you over." Right? And of course, another character, Black Ranger, says, "Oh, geez, he's mean." I thought, yeah, well, Yellow Ranger said, "He's just hiding behind loneliness." And of course, Red Ranger says, "Eric, lonely?" Never really occurred to him that Eric could be suffering from something far deeper, and I don't know why he would be. This is my first real viewing of the show. I only watched Power Rangers Zeo. I got into Power Rangers in Space a little bit, and Jungle Force I liked. There was one where they only had 3 Power Rangers. I don't remember the name of it, but I really enjoyed it. It was a little bit strange for me because I'm so used to seeing the token 5, because if you go into superstition, 5 is considered lucky. And 4 is death, because the number for 4 in Japanese actually sounds like death. Just like in Chinese, 3 is the same as their word for death. So they don't really use 3 that much. It's just considered ill tidings if they enact it. Sort of like with us and the number 13. It's just all based on the fact that Judas was the 13th disciple, and he betrayed Jesus for 30 pieces of silver, etc. But anyway, just a little bit of background on the whole superstition part. But Yeah, I think I really like Time Force because I've always been a big fan of quantum physics and space and time, and is something that has always fascinated me ever since I was little, even though I couldn't understand it. Like, I was into sliders. I was a huge, huge fan of sliders, and when I realized that the hub was taking it over and re-airing the episodes, I started watching, and yeah, it was more enjoyable as an adult, even even how old I am now. I don't consider myself old. I'm young, but it was just absolutely spectacular. And this is just part of that. The effects, the battle sequence, and Nauticon. They save him, and I had never seen that before. I thought, that's very unique. And of course, when the Quantum Ranger calls forth his Zord, it sounds a lot like a very familiar, famous monster that we are all acquainted with over here in the US. One that went against our own, dare I say, King Kong. And I like both equally, but honestly, and I hate to say this, please don't flame me, I just think that Godzilla would win in a fight, hands down. I mean, there's no comparison. He can breathe fire. He's the same height, but he's got the spiky tail looking like something out of Monster Hunter. And King Kong, no, even though he's brute strength and force, I think Godzilla would still have the upper hand in the battle. I think my logic on that is pretty sound. I could be wrong. We've seen King Kong win in older film, but I don't know. It's really interesting. But it just had that kind of nostalgia. And of course, Barbara Goodson, she voiced Nauticon. It's just like Bright Star said when I was talking to her, you could hear traces of Somnobot, even though Nauticon's portrayal is more panicky and uncertain and just neurotic. And you could also hear some traces of Rita when Nauticon is hurt or in pain or trying to lash out in self-defense, not because he wants to, just because he doesn't. It's sort of like a reflex. It's like if someone were to come in front of me and scare me, I would put my hands up. But that's just, I'm not violent, but it's just something I do because I don't know if I'm going to get hit or what's going to happen. It's just part of my body saying, oh, self-defense, protect. shield. But yeah, it's the same thing, because what was so intriguing is how Nauticon actually, he apologizes profusely for hurting his fellow monsters when he's actually not really resurrected, but brought out of cryogenic slumber. And but it's a really good episode, and it was very touching too. I almost cried. But I really liked, I think Trip immediately became my favorite character, because a lot of the things he said just rang true. And he said, if I don't stand up, then who will? And he made really good points in this episode, I think. And like I said, I really feel like the whole plot was taken from, this is just a very basic version of Les Miserables with Jean Valjean, and he had to steal bread in order to feed his family. But in this case, Nauticon had to do so in order to just thrive and survive and do what he could. And it seems like he was shunned almost. That's just theory. There's not a lot of evidence to back that up, but still kind of makes you wonder. That's pretty much all I have to say about Trip Takes a Stand, and it was a just absolutely astronomically done episode. I liked all the characters, and yeah, that's it. So until next time, live long, prosper. Ciao tutti.